Folks, the UK just held its first major Scrabble tournament of the year in the 2026 UK Open. And thanks to the newly launched ABSP YouTube channel, we got to watch all of the action at the top boards. There were several absolutely electric moments over the course of the stream, including one of the craziest bingos I've ever seen played in a tournament game. In round 8, up-and-coming Joel Davey took on veteran expert Rafal Dominiczak, with Joel going first and correctly playing Jut. Rafal has the first blank and plays Missive for 80, a very nice find. Joel draws 3 consonants and attempts to balance his rack with Prent for 20, after which Rafal undoubles his 2 eyes and sets up another S-hook with Jig for 12. Although Joel draws awkwardly with multiple sets of duplicated letters, he has one playable bingo here, and Joel spots it. Canoe Man for 64. Meanwhile, Rafal draws balanced letters and can play Misdone for 76 underneath Prent, or anagrams of this word like Emodins or Domines, hooking Jig. However, he spots a stunning alternative positioning here, playing Misdone alongside Canoe Man, forming overlaps with every tile, including the 8-letter omissive for 99 points. It's a gorgeous play, and one of the most stylish bingos I have ever seen played in a game. Rafal deserves even more style points for how quickly he spotted this option, playing it extremely fast after Joel's Canoe Man.
Raf has found a truly phenomenal play. This is the kind of play you dream of making on the stream. What can you even say to that? That is a truly outstanding play.
Joel fights on valiantly, but 3 straight turns of 7 vowel racks in the late game allow Rafal to protect his lead en route to a 477 to 381 victory. In round 16, 2 of the top contenders in Colin Northmore and Brian Po went head-to-head in an instant classic of a game. Colin opens with Faw, keeping the ing combination together, and while Brian has directs on his rack as a 7-letter bingo, he instead plays Acridist from the A for an additional 9 points to grab the early lead. Colin hits right back with his highest scoring bingo of Saginite for 76. The E in the triple lane could be dangerous, but for 76 points, it's a reasonable risk, and while Brian draws good bingo tiles again, he doesn't have anything to the triple word score. Instead, he plays his top scoring option of Alunite hooking Fawn for 71 to retake the lead. As luck would have it, it's Colin who draws the devastating blow through his own open E, as he draws into Heroized for an 167-point triple-triple, turning the tables on Brian in the game. Suddenly down 100, Brian's able to balance his rack nicely with About for 21, while Colin draws the unappealing GPY combination on his next rack. However, these tiles surprisingly combine to form a playable bingo on this board, and Colin makes the difficult find of Jip Lures for 66 to further extend his lead. Still, with the first blank now on his rack, Brian keeps fighting and plays Reloaded for 70 in the most volatile possible position, opening lanes he will need to continue his comeback. Colin is in good shape with the second blank already in hand, but the J stops him from bingoing again immediately. He plays Ya for 39, keeping balanced tiles for next turn. Brian's tiles don't look great, but the T of Acridist just barely allows him to fit Co-Rotate for a 63-point bingo, bringing him to within striking distance once again, which is a crazy thing to say given that he's bingoed 4 times in his first 5 moves of this game. Of course, with his excellent bingo leave, including the blank, Colin is extremely likely to draw into a bingo, and his LT draw allows him to play terrible for 74 to go back up by over 100. Brian continues to fight with his top scoring option by far of Mixie for 61, but this gives Colin an opportunity to respond with the gorgeous fit of Kine for 45 to push his lead back up over 100. Although Brian hits back with the Q and Z for solid scores in the late game, the outcome is never really in doubt from here, and it's Colin's win by the wild score of 564 to 540. This is the kind of effort that it took to beat Brian Po in this tournament, and despite taking the loss in this game with a score of 540, he remained in the top spot throughout the latter stages of the event. Defending UK Open champion Harshan Lamabadu-Surya was the last player standing who could still catch him, and in their round 23 match, Brian got off to a blazing fast start with 3 bingos in Fritzing, Starlit, and Infects to none for Harshan. However, after Harshan plays Blash for 28, he draws into the triple-triple of Gungiest for 140, which would instantly revive his winning chances. Not only that, Brian has terrible letters to play through the open G with a slew of duplicated vowels. At first glance, the computer engine wants Brian to ignore the open G and play something like yeah for 30, which he clearly considers at one point in his decision making. However, he then puts down hyena for 20 before realizing that both M's are still unseen to him and that this play fails to block responses like mangiest. So he wisely adjusts his play to yin for 12, which the computer engine approves of. Either of these options successfully block Gungiest, forcing Harshan to instead play Gunnites for 72, and 2 turns later, Brian makes the tough find of Amoeboid for 96 to polish off the victory in this game and, by extension, the tournament. With this win, Brian continues his ascent up the rankings into the top 50, while Harshan rebounded from his loss to finish second overall, continuing his incredible track record of consistent success in UK events. As I mentioned earlier, we're now going to be able to watch more UK Scrabble than ever before thanks to the ABSP Scrabble YouTube channel, which is really exciting. I definitely recommend you give that channel a follow to catch many of the other major events on the UK calendar this year. Congrats once again to Rafal, Colin, Harshan, and Brian for their great plays and results, and I'll catch you in the next one.